Hello, every pony, and I told you guys there'd be a special review this week, and this week we are reviewing the My Little Pony fan animation episode, whatever you want to call it, Snowdrop. I have been looking forward to taking a look at this ever since I decided what I was going to do last week, because this is one of my favorite animations to come out of the fandom, and it's got a lot of things that I want to talk about. A lot of my thoughts on this animation have changed over the years, but let's go ahead and jump right into it. This opens up with a little introduction to what winter is and what exactly winter is for Equestria and why it's so important. And it's also just super interesting to see a little bit of the animation that we're going to be getting into here, which I have a lot of thoughts on. And title card. We make our ways over to Cloudsdale and wind up with listening to a little bit of learning of history of why the weather is done the way it is in Equestria. Even though this is a fan animation, this is still really nice for them to include, to learn a little more about the background of how the weather works. Even though it's just fan animation, it's still nice for them to put that little extra thing in there.
Wherever it is, they need to hurry up and go get the front. It's freezing.
Looks like we have another diamond tiara on our hose. We are then introduced to our title character, Snowdrop, who is a blind filly. Really nice choice. You don't see a lot of that representation, especially in animation. But it's really nice to see this character, and I like the design. I like the way that her eyes look to kind of like say, hey, she's not like the others. And her design is so simplistic, but also it makes her stand out amongst these other ponies. It's really nice. We were then informed that there's a school project that Snowdrop seems like she hasn't gotten done, and because she also did not have a partner, which you would think a teacher would make sure the blind student would actually have a partner, which is a little strange, but very, I guess, kind of expected with this kind of story. But Snowdrop confidently, even though obviously doesn't have a project, says she does. And she's already working on it, and it's gonna be great.
Well,
class is dismissed.
All right then.
And
Be
Snowdrop
careful going home.
reassures her teacher
I know
that
you know your way, but
she's
the
got
last
this
blizzard
and
of
she
the
knows
year
how to
is
get home
always the worst.
herself.
I will.
Seriously, you're going to let the blind kid walk home by themselves in a blizzard. We then see Snowdrop at home, a little down in the dumps because there's not much she can really do. And this is really, really heart-wrenching and really just hurts a little bit to watch, to see some of this. This then leads into a flashback, which I think now is as good a time as any to cover this. The animation. I have a few issues with the animation. Don't get me wrong, the animation's not bad. It's just there are some times when the animation is a little bit spotty, but then there's also sometimes where it looks really good, sometimes better than the show. Well, better than in the earlier seasons, like season 1. But there are also sometimes the animation just looks really weird and choppy and slow and not as good, and you can tell it's a fan animation. Sorry. But and it's really, really bothersome sometimes, and it's so weird to see the change at points. I don't know if this was different animators at different points, or I legit don't know, because there are parts where things look amazing in this, and then other parts where they just look decent, and one where you can tell how simple the animation is. It's very inconsistent with how much it changes. It's not like an audio drama where the images change, and that's kind of the point. But this is like the animation. It still looks very similar, and to the untrained eye, it probably wouldn't be noticed. But it's very clearly done in such a strange way that it's just so noticeably jarring to me. We see Snowdrop and her mother out on a cloud talking about the stars. And Snowdrop is like kind of a little upset that she can't see them. But her mom informs her that your eyes, you don't need them because you're so tough and you're able to do things that other ponies can do, and you don't even have your sight. And that's a really good lesson to take away from this, is that just because you don't have something that everyone else has, or you're like limited or disabled in some way, you still can make the best out of a bad situation. And it's a really nice sentiment for them to have for a scene like this, and it's really nice and it's really sweet. We then see Snowdrop get an inspiration from her frozen tear, and she starts to make what can only be presumed as the very first snowflake. This is a really interesting thing, which I kind of wish the show could have done. Obviously, snowflakes aren't created like this, like in the real life, but it would have been really cool if the show could have done something like this, and it's really, really interesting to see them do something along these lines. The next day, Snowdrop brings her creation to the princesses and gives a super heartwarming speech about what she brought for the princesses, and this is such a heart-wrenching moment where legit I have teared up at this moment, seeing her put her heart into this and spout out everything she thinks about what she created. And it is so heartwarming to see how passionate this character is about what she has created, and it's so nice, so sweet, and literally every second of this warms my heart and literally brings a tear to my eye. It is such a nice moment, and to see the look on the princesses' faces and the fact that they pick hers over everyone else's is such a heartwarming moment and makes the animation for me. It's probably the best a moment in this entire thing, and it is just so nice. Snowdrop even winds up getting her cutie mark from this. We then cut to 1,000 years later, where Snowdrop has passed on and they have the final snowflake that she created. And Luna does not want to let it go because it means so much to her, and her and Snowdrop became so close. And it's really heart-wrenching to watch, but they wind up letting it go as in her honor. And it turns out the last snowflake is the very, very first snowflake that they ever made, which just makes the moment so much better and is so sweet, so heart-wrenching. I know I've said the word heart-wrenching a lot in this entire thing, and it brings this animation to a great close. So yeah, I still enjoy this animation quite a bit. I do see a little more of the glaring flaws than I did a while back, but that still doesn't mean this is a bad animation. This is a great animation, and the story is really great. And I kind of have a little bit of a story I want to share from my first introduction with the character of Snowdrop. I was playing the Roblox game, My Little Pony Role Playing is Magic, and I met someone using that as their character. And that's how I learned about the character and then wound up seeing the animation and all that. So that's a little interesting to see. But this is such a great animation and holds such a key place in my heart of being a brony and being part of the fandom. And seeing this animation was so great. I love it. But that is it for this review. Next week we'll be getting back to the episodes. I'm so excited to jump into the next episode. But until next week, we will see you guys in the next one. Bye.